How long did it take you to build up a successful private practice, Katrina?
It was much quicker than I'd expected it to be. Left the NHS in 2004 and established a full-time private practice there, and I was finding that I was getting more referrals than I had expected quite quickly, and that steadily grew. And in 2006 set up a limited company with a number of associates working for Connect. So I would say less than 2 years. Within a year, things were very firmly established.
That's wonderful. Would you say that was sort of an example of everybody that goes into private practice, or was that just your experience as such?
Well, I did put effort into that. I did something that I was quite uncomfortable with, which was started marketing the service. So I was going around, I was emailing colleagues, I was letting people know, I was handing out my business cards when I met people. I felt very uncomfortable doing it, but I would hand out my business cards to friends and colleagues, and I would give them 2 or 3 at a time and say, if you know of anybody, do pass it on. And I think that helped a lot.
Katrina, you mentioned associates there. When should someone employ someone rather than an associate?
I think for a small private practice, my recommendation, and this is through my experience, is that sticking with actually having associates where you come to some kind of an agreement about splitting the fee or sharing the fee, or that they invoice for their base fee and you invoice for a bit more or something like that in the agency model. I would say stick with that. Actually, taking on employees is quite tricky. I would recommend that you've got a lot of advice beforehand, and not forget that you pay your employee whether there's work or not, although there are some ways of structuring the contract, so there's flexibility in that. You also pay national insurance. If you might be paying statutory sick pay or maternity pay or paternity pay, holiday pay. So there's all sorts of overheads that need to be covered. So that person actually needs to do an awful lot of work in order to just cover their costs. So you could find yourself on the business of covering your costs and breaking even rather than making a profit. So I would suggest that people go into employing a clinical staff, a therapist, very, very carefully.
Thank you.